The Husker hype is real. Can Nebraska football take a huge step forward in 2024? I think they can. In fact, I think they're the breakout team of the year. Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman. Coming up on 40 years as a talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And this episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. Got to admit it, I'm competitive, and I'm a big fan of Monopoly Go, the mobile hit twist on the classic Monopoly. So join your friends and download Monopoly Go, now free at the App Store or Google Play. So we're going to look at this, believe in the Husker hype, plus Chip Kelly and recruiting at Ohio State. It's got like 9 more quarterbacks coming in, and the Rutgers quarterback situation has been settled, plus our Pigskin Pics. I'll explain that at the end. It's time to buy into the hype and the excitement for the upcoming Nebraska football season. I think they're for real, and I'm even more convinced after watching their 5-star freshman Dylan Raiola play in the spring game. And I thought they were a good team last year. They were a good team last year. They just had a problem, a quarterback, and they turned the ball over. I mean, if they just cut the turnovers down in half, that's a bowl team. They were a good team with lots of room to improve. I thought they were an interesting team to watch all season long. And now that their quarterback of the present and the future seems to be Raiola, and they got that problem solved, if they just take care of the football, I'm convinced they're going to end their bowlless streak that's gone on since 2016 and have a very good year. But the question is, how good of a year can Nebraska have? Well, I want you to go back at the time machine and think this through a little bit, because this kind of reminds me of last summer. I had just taken over this podcast channel, Locked On Big Ten, and one of the first feature podcasts I did was predicting that the Iowa Hawkeyes would be the breakout team of the Big Ten, because I thought they could win 10 or 11 games, right? Many of you chastised me for that. You did. You chastised me for the Hawkeyes' enthusiasm and optimism there. Many of you thought that a Brian Ferentz-led offense, no way would they be able to do anything and be successful. And you let me have it in the comment section. I haven't forgotten, but it's all good. Although I will also admit that a lot of Iowa fans ate it up and were very excited about what I was saying. But I don't have to remind my doubters that Iowa did, in fact, win 10 games last year and made it to the Big Ten championship game despite having a bad offense. I don't have to remind you of that, but I just did. Why am I talking about this now? Because the 2024 Nebraska football team is the new 2023 Iowa team, except better. They got a potentially explosive offense here if they put it all together. Both Huskers offenses combined for over 700 yards in their spring game last week. Now, this isn't all about Raiola, because I have to admit, even Heinrich Haarberg, who didn't look great last year, looked pretty good. Looked like he's improved as well. I know they have a new quarterbacks coach there, but everything just seems to be fitting and being more, it's more smooth this year on offense so far from what we've seen. Now, still a lot of work to do. And admittedly, a lot of Husker defensive players sat out during the spring game, so that made the job easier for the offense. But if the offense is to break out, it's got a lot of ground to cover. Let's keep in mind, last year, the Huskers ranked 13th in the Big Ten in yards. There were only 14 teams last year. 13th out of 14th in yardage, and also completion percentage, which barely hit 50%. They led the league in interceptions as well. I think off the top of my mind, they threw like 16 of them. That's not good. That's not going to help at all. They were completing passes just to the wrong team. And they had the worst turnover margin in the entire country, not just the Big Ten. All in all, the offense just averaged 18 points per game last year. And I've told you here before, I thought it was an outdated offense where it was like a quarterback run first option. The quarterbacks were usually the leading rusher They really had trouble getting passing games going. And plus, you're exposing your quarterbacks to injury. I was a little surprised that Matt Rule went with that with his first offense. I've talked about this with you before. But that was what they ran. That they had Jeff Sims. That was what he was built for, other than the turnovers. Anyway, more of a pocket passing presence here with Raiola, and that's what we saw a lot of in the spring game. They are getting some help as well. Jamal Banks, he's a transfer from Wake Forest. He led Wake with over 600 yards and 4 touchdowns last season, so we got some targets to throw to here. Isaiah Nair, he comes from Wyoming, where he averaged 20 yards per catch and scored 13 touchdowns in 2022. Now, he had an ACL last year, 2023, so he's coming off of that. The Huskers also have some up-and-coming receivers at a tight end that I'm going to be interested in seeing more of. So they got some talent, some speed, and that they should be impactful this season as well. So, yeah, I think the Nebraska Cornhuskers are the breakout team of 2024. I'll stand by that. Now, they're not going to be better than Ohio State or Oregon or Michigan or Penn State. I mean, when I say breakout, they're not going to be that kind of breakout, but they might be nestled in right behind those guys in the Big Ten standings. Not bad. Top 5, top 6, maybe, right? They're in the mix for that. I absolutely think so. And that'd be a great year for them, year 2 for Matt Rule. And with just a little bit of success and the national attention on Dylan Raiola that he brings to Lincoln, and the fact that Matt Rule is a coach with NFL experience and that kids seem to really like to play for, recruiting will get easier. So will recruiting kids in the transfer portal. By the way, have you noticed the minuscule number of Huskers that have left for the transfer portal? Nobody's leaving Nebraska. Kids all over the country are leaving their schools looking for better play. Not in Nebraska. They're staying because they know what's going on there. And I think Matt Rule is a pretty good coach to play for. I think he's a good players coach, smart football coach. They like that he's got the NFL experience. They've got great facilities over there. They've got one of the most passionate fan bases that are just dying for a winner. There's nowhere else to go. They're going to be better. Kids are staying there at Nebraska, avoiding the transfer portal. But other kids want to come in from the transfer portal when they see what could potentially happen here this year. And look ahead to their opening schedule. We've discussed this before here on Locked On Big Ten. The first 6 games, the first half of the season, you've got UTEP, Colorado, Northern Iowa, Illinois, Purdue, Indiana. I mean, there's 4 to 6 wins there. Get a nice start, get some wins under their belt. And if they take care of the football, they'll avoid that late season slide where they lost all those close games in November last year. Remember, last year, if they only won one more of them, they would have gone to a bowl. They definitely can be better than that this year. Definitely. Just take care of the ball and let Raiola do his thing at quarterback, and he'll make mistakes. There will be turnovers. He'll throw interceptions. He's new. He's young. He's a freshman. But they got to cut down on what they had last year for sure. And they can avoid that slide. And they're going to go bowling. More wins, and the Huskers going to go bowling for the first time since 2016. Love to hear from you. I'm seeing a lot of enthusiasm out there, social media, whatnot, from you Husker fans. Love to hear from you. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't right here to Locked On Big Ten, and follow Locked On Big Ten for free wherever you get your podcast. That way you get the latest episode of this podcast as soon as it becomes available each and every day. You know, the audio versions are out at 4 a.m. If you just listen to the podcast, 4 a.m. Eastern. The video on YouTube comes out at 6 a.m. Eastern every single day, available for you right there whenever you can get to it. On your morning commute, your lunch hour, tell your friends about us. We are out here. You got Big Ten friends. Let them know about Locked On Big Ten. Now, Rutgers just named a starting quarterback. I think this is one of the most fascinating quarterback battles in the Big Ten, actually, and I'll explain why. Plus, speaking of quarterbacks, you know, the Buckeyes, they got 5 quarterbacks in the quarterback room right now, right? Well, they've got offers out to 9 more. You never have enough, right? That's all coming up right here as we continue on another edition of Locked On Big Ten. Passion, drive, and patience. It's the formula for winning championships. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, whether you're into power, looking good, style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at all the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Only available to U.S. customers. I want to thank everybody for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day. You everydayers make this thing go. Thank you very much. Meanwhile, be sure to subscribe and share and follow and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And don't forget to check out our website, talkbig10.com. Get swag, pennants, hats, shirts, things for your desk at work, mugs. It's all right there. And all of our podcasts are right there as well, in order or group by teams or school, however you like to get them. You know, we spent a lot of time talking about Nebraska today. You want to go find other Nebraska stuff? It's right there under Nebraska. Talked about Ohio State yesterday. You want to go back and find it? Go look at under Ohio State. It's right there. So trying to make it easy for you. Hope you like it. Feel free to watch another episode when you're done with this one. And again, yesterday, talking about Ohio State and their expectations for 2024, one of the biggest additions to the program this year was the arrival of UCLA head football coach Chip Kelly, who became the offensive coordinator. Apparently, he's not only hit the ground when it came to getting ready for spring ball that just came and went, but it looks like he's been pretty busy recruiting quarterbacks as well. You know, they got 5 quarterbacks right now in a very crowded quarterback room. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Who gets that winning job? Will Howard or one of the youngsters? He has offered several other quarterback scholarships for the 2026 season, and that includes 4-star quarterback Braden Faison. He's just a sophomore. He is reportedly the 8th high school sophomore to receive an offer from Ohio State already. Why 8 offers? Well, because there's no guarantee that he's going to accept, of course. Faison has received 20 scholarship offers already. Not bad for a 16-year-old. The Buckeyes have also offered another quarterback, and he has accepted a 5-star quarterback for the class of 2025, Tavian St. Clair from Bellefontaine, Ohio. Looks like he's coming. Add him to the quarterback room. There rarely seems to be a shortage of quarterbacks at Ohio State. So we always keep an eye on that. And anytime we do recruiting news like this, it's brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. I thought one of the biggest and most interesting quarterback battles this spring was going to be at Rutgers, actually. Minnesota transfer Ethan Kaliakmanis and incumbent Gavin Wimsatt. Now, a week after the conclusion of spring ball, Greg Schiano has already named Kaliakmanis the starter. Now, Wimsatt started 18 games for Rutgers over the last 2 years and seemed like a good kid. He ran the offense pretty well. He did struggle a little bit with the passing game, but, and Kaliakmanis comes in, also seemed like a pretty good kid, and his teammates at Minnesota really liked him. He seemed to really struggle with the passing game at Minnesota, and he had a falling out, it seems, with PJ Fleck right after the Purdue game. He said, I'm out of here. So he portaled out, ended up at Rutgers. Now, adding to my intrigue about this situation here is this particular quarterback battle is, did Wimsatt hit the transfer portal because Kaliakmanis was named the starter? Or did Schiano name Kaliakmanis the starter because Wimsatt was leaving? Chicken and the egg situation behind the scenes. I really don't know the answer to that question right now. Regardless, Rutgers returns 15 players who started on a 7-6 team last year that won a bowl game against Miami. So this is an intriguing team. It's still a good team, and whoever's at quarterback has a pretty good opportunity here. Now, Kaliakmanis, he's not a perfect quarterback by any means. Went 8-9 and 17 starts at Minnesota the last 2 seasons. He had trouble completing more than 50% of his passes. He wasn't a great passer either, he or Wimsatt. But don't forget, Rutgers offensive coordinator Kirk Chiroka, he recruited Kaliakmanis in high school and actually coached him for 1 year at Minnesota before he then moved on to Rutgers himself to take the offensive coordinator job. So there's a little familiarity there. That may be an advantage. It was one of the reasons I'm sure Cal Eric Menace decided where he was when he left Minnesota that he was going to go to Rutgers. And finally, some news out of Northwestern. I saw some pictures today. It is officially demolished. Ryan Field is gone. Now the university is getting a new stadium, and it's going to be in the same place to the tune of $800 million. It's also going to be called Ryan Field. It's going to be really nice, but it's not going to be available till 2026. So the Wildcats will play a majority of their home games at the athletic facility on campus where the lacrosse and soccer teams play. The upside is it'll be nice and cozy on campus, and it's right there on Lake Michigan. Beautiful view. See the Chicago skyline, all that right there. It's very nice right there on Lake Michigan. Northwestern football's on the upswing after the hazing scandal last summer. 8-5 record last year. Went to the Las Vegas Bowl, got things turned around following a 1-win season the year before. So give credit to David Braun, who was thrust in as the interim head coach with that mess going on last year. Got the head coaching job with the great year, got the contract, and became the Big Ten Coach of the Year. It's a great story. Now they're going to get a brand new facility, but they got to wait a couple years before they get it. So it's going to make for an interesting year this year on the lakefront there at Northwestern. Got a question for you. If you watch a lot of daytime TV, sports TV, talking head TV, ESPN, Fox, all that, all the yelling, the screaming, you ever turn the volume down? You just can't take it anymore. Well, guess what? You can make the switch to Locked On Sports Today. It's a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. It's Locked On Sports Today, and it brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or for free on Amazon Fire TV Channels app, which we talk about here. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. In fact, this show is sometimes on there as well. You can always check that on an encore performance. Now, we're going to do Pigskin Pics. We always do some sort of pick or action here in our final segment of the week. And you might be going, Pigskin Pics, what are you talking about? There's no games going on. But we're going to tweak it a little bit. We're going to look at the top 10 Heisman odds, according to our friends at FanDuel. And the top 10, it's all quarterbacks, by the way. I mean, this has become a quarterbacks award. You know this. But all the favorites are all quarterbacks. I will tell you how many Big Ten quarterbacks are in that mix. That's coming up next right here on Locked On Big Ten. Monopoly Go. That's right. You all play Monopoly as a kid, the old board game. Now on your device, you play Monopoly Go with anybody around the world, as a matter of fact. So it's a lot of fun. You can team up with friends for time tournaments. You work together as a team, build up your empires, build up your boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you can unlock. Like you can get these unique stickers that you can complete an album for and turn it in for prizes. Cool new playing places and our pieces that you could travel with. You always like the Monopoly pieces that you go around the board with. All kinds of things to select. Hilarious emojis to make fun of your friends with. It's all good stuff. You can smash down their buildings, steal their vaults. It's great. Monopoly Go. Monopoly Go, the new and exciting everyday game here, constantly changing tournaments and challenges for you. You can play multiple ones, different ones all at the same time. Always timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it now free on Google Play or the App Store. It is game on with Monopoly Go. All right, it is time for our Pigskin Picks. I'm going to put this on the screen here, and we're going to talk about something here together. It's a little bit different from what we normally do, and this is the latest Heisman odds, according to FanDuel. These are FanDuel odds. The odds at FanDuel are a little different than some of the others, so this is really good. Now, as you can see here, we've highlighted, if you're listening on audio only, I have all 10. We have highlighted the 2 from the Big Ten, only 2. So right now, your top odds for Heisman are quarterbacks Quinn Ewers out of Texas and Georgia quarterback Carson Beck, both at plus 750. Those are your favorites. Newcomer, Oregon, and Dylan Gabriel is next on the list, third in the Heisman odds at plus 1,000. Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe comes in fourth at plus 1,500. Actually, he's fifth. I think these odds are switched up a little bit from whatever. The different odds from different odds makers. And you can see I switched these a little bit. So Jalen Milroe plus 1,500. Will Howard at Ohio State actually would be fourth at plus 1,300. We've got LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, newcomer there. Jane Daniels is gone. Garrett Nussmeier coming in at plus 1,800. DJ Ugalele at Florida State plus 3,000. The odds are different at other places for Jackson Dart and Nico Iamaleava at Tennessee. Those guys are at plus 1,500. And Miami, Cam Ward at plus 2,200. Those are your Heisman odds. All quarterbacks. No love for other positions. Running back, wide receiver, edge rusher, linebacker. Nope. It's a complete quarterback award now. But here are your odds, your Heisman odds, and two Big Ten teams. Anybody else? We were having a conversation the other day, both on this podcast and I think off the air I was having it, trying to figure out who is going to be the best quarterback. Who's the best quarterback in the Big Ten right now? And I think it is Dylan Gabriel. A lot of other teams with question marks at quarterback. Michigan, we don't know. Ohio State, we don't know, even though Will Howard makes this list. I'm kind of high on Luke Altmaier having a big year at Illinois. I don't know if he's going to be in the Heisman hype, but I think he's going to be pretty good. Drew Aller at Penn State he's got to take a step forward this year. I don't know. I think people have kind of forgotten about him for now. But anyway, here's the last look at the Heisman odds, the top 10 odds available for you. And they all happen to be quarterbacks, just two of them from the Big Ten. All right. It's been a great week, been a very, very busy week. And there are many ways for you to contact me over the weekend. If you're watching some of our episodes, you want to reach out, you can hit me up, of course, at Twitter, at X, at Talk Big Ten. And also, you can follow us on our website. Check us out on our website. Watch other podcasts as well at talkbig10, 10.com. Love to see you there. And comments on YouTube throughout the weekend as well. Be sure before you go to subscribe and follow this podcast right now on your favorite podcast app and to get the latest episode of Locked On Big Ten as soon as it becomes available each and every morning. And don't forget, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. It's Locked On Sports Today. It's here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every single league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. That's it, man. It was great. Great week. Great day. Thank you for joining us today. Have yourself a great weekend. And we will be back with the absolute latest going on around the Big Ten on Monday, right here on Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman. We'll talk to you next time.